ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to DigiTrip. Why do I keep saying welcome back? Chances are you've never been a part of this before, and if you have, then awesome, and if you haven't, well then welcome to DigiTrip. It's gonna be a lot of fun while we're here. I've been trying to make this video for the last like 3 or 4 hours and tried recording it over and over and over again, and none of it's ever worked, so you know what, I'm gonna just ramble. What have I been doing for the past like month and a half? Well, putting off making videos, but outside of putting off making videos, I've decided that I'm going to pick up Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, which is the most recent patch, or expansion rather, to Final Fantasy XIV, and it came out, what, on the 16th? It's now the 20th, or no, it's way past the 20th, its actual release date was on the 20th, and now it's actually the 27th. I was supposed to have a video up like 4 days ago and it wasn't happening, and I was trying to make a nice structured video and it wasn't happening whatsoever, so now I'm gonna just scream at this microphone and hope to God that something worthwhile actually comes out of this goddamn mess. So, we're here playing Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood. What do I think about it? So far, it's fucking awesome. That's about the only thing that I can really say for sure without any kind of hiccups. This game is great. I was a huge fan of Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Ward back when it released back in 3.0, and every single patch that we had gotten up to this point have been absolutely stellar and fantastic. And now, here we are, playing Stormblood, all the hype has been going on, the servers are absolute trash, everyone's having trouble logging in, Raubon has a line, Pippin is just as bad, and everyone's frustrated with it, and I keep getting disconnected, and I just got disconnected, but you know what, even though all that shit's been going on, it doesn't even fucking matter, because this game is actually just an absolute blast to play. Oh man, okay, so what's the first thing that I love about this game? Well, the storytelling, first of all, is just as good as it's always been. It's a little bit more on the bright side. It's not as dark and heavy and dreary and depressing as Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Ward was. However, Stormblood does come with a great sense of liberation and freedom and inspiration and all that stuff, and it's great. The main villain to this expansion pack is absolutely a badass. He walks around with a big-ass sword, multiple big-ass swords actually. He's like General Grievous from Star Wars. He kills samurai, takes their blade, shoves them into this rotating sheath thing, picks his favorite one and cuts people down with it. It's awesome. It's fantastic. What else is there to completely scream and brag about? This game's new zones! They added so many new zones to this game, it's insane! We got Alamigo itself and Garabanya and all those extra places, which is all these awesome desert landscapes, and somehow they still managed to make a desert look fucking interesting, which is really, really hard to do if you think about it, because it's all just sand, right? But somehow, they managed to make sand impressive. They've actually done a good job of using a wide variety of color palettes as well. Heaven's Ward had a lot of grays and white and more gray and some blue, but they actually neutralized the color palette a lot because what they wanted to do was give this sense of like dread, right? Because that's all that Heaven's Ward was about, was dread. But with Stormblood, you know, since it's all about freedom and fire and liberation and all that awesome stuff, you've got lots of browns because again it's a desert, but they still managed to actually throw in a lot of other color into that world, which was actually really cool. But the really cool part and the really colorful place is actually Kagane, which is basically Japan in like its Edo period. It's got all sorts of just awesome things everywhere. So, you know, bright blue seas, and shut up, Aussie. It's got bright blue seas, and it's got, you know, bright, colorful castles, and there's samurai walking around everywhere, which is also one of the new classes, but I'll get to that in a second. It's got just everything. It looks like Japan. It's basically Japan, and if you're a weeboo like me, then you're gonna absolutely love every second of it, and I was just gushing about it the entire time. The last place is Doma, which is basically like Kagane, but if it was bombed to shit and just looked awful, right? Doma is basically Japan during its Sungeke period, when everybody was kind of just, I think it's the Sungeke period, it was when everyone was just kind of killing each other and warlords were everywhere. They're occupied, everything's brown, everything's depressing. Shut up, Aussie! That's the one that is the least visually stimulating, I would say, out of all the new zones. Everything else looks really interesting and really fascinating, but actually Doma, which was one of the places that we were all really excited about going to, was actually really kind of just meh. But anyway, zones out of the way, the combat, oh my god, Bird, I will throw you out a window. In terms of the combat and the refinements to all the classes, every single class got basically a complete overhaul, right? The reason why was because there were so many abilities and there was so much bloat, and there was this stupid system where you had to level up other classes to get some abilities that were really useful to your primary class. So like, let's say you wanted to be a tank, right? and you leveled up, say, a paladin. Well, for some reason, you'd have to go and level up a warrior also to like level 15 to get the rest of the abilities that was useful to a paladin. It made absolutely no sense. And so the team was like, you know what, this makes no sense. And so they scrapped it, and then they decided to go with this new system, which is basically every single class has all the abilities that would be useful to it. So all the DPS classes have something similar that buffs it, right? So maybe they get more health whenever they do more damage, or maybe they get to reduce the strength of, like, the enemy. Like, all these things are now tied together, so that is awesome. And speaking of classes, we got two now for this expansion pack. We got Red Mage, which was one of the classes that I was looking forward to since the start of Final Fantasy XIV. It's actually funny. When Final Fantasy XIV re-released as A Realm Reborn, I was actually waiting for the Red Mage to come out. In fact, I had a character that was reserved specifically for the time that Red Mage was going to release, and everyone was like, Marshall, they're not going to add a Red Mage. And I was like, just wait, they're going to add a Red Mage. And they're like, it's not going to happen. And I'm like, totally is going to happen. And guess what? It fucking happened, right? I was right, as always, as I always am with everything that pertains to this MMO. I'm always right about this shit, and I knew, shut up, Bird, and I knew for a fact that we were going to get it, and so we did. We got Red Mage, and on top of that also, we got Samurai. Now, Samurai is the second weeboo class that we got. We got Ninja first. Samurai's from the exact same place, and so now you get to have all of your katana-wielding, dagger-throwing, poison-darting fantasticness that you would have hoped for, right? So, yay! Cheers all around. I'm actually really happy with both classes in these games. I actually, believe it or not, for all this time that I've been waiting for Red Mage to come out, I haven't even actually made one yet. Why? Because the servers are fucking shit. And that's gonna be our next segue. Because these servers right now are fucking shit. It's actually not really Square Enix's fault. Well, actually, no, it is Square Enix's fault. But on top of it being Square Enix's fault, people thought it'd be fun to DDoS the fuck out of this game. I don't know why. I don't think that Square Enix has actually done anything wrong with Final Fantasy XIV. Last time I checked, FF14 is actually kind of loved by, like, everybody. Maybe they're like some World of Warcraft fanboys that are trying to, like, hurt the sales of, like, this game, but I even doubt that, because they're too busy playing World of Warcraft, because World of Warcraft's patch also came out. But I'm not talking about World of Warcraft now. I'll come back to World of Warcraft later. Right now I'm talking about Square Enix's really shitty servers right now, and holy shit, fix your shit. So I'm on Balmung, which is like the most populated server. It's mostly filled with crazy, scary food and role players, but if you ignore the women that have penises and you ignore everybody that wants to have cyber sex with you, it's actually a fun server filled with a lot of great people in it, right? So, that server's filled, and then you've also got Gilgamesh, which was the other legacy servers. Now, the legacy servers are, in short, these zones, or these servers rather, that existed in 1.0, back when the game was, you know, utter garbage, and they literally blew up the world to remake it again. But those are two of the legacy servers that were remaining, and so everybody kind of flocked to these servers to be, like, playing with their friends. Maybe some who had 1.0, or maybe they just heard about it, and so they thought that, hey, this is the greatest spot to be. But as a result of that desire to play there, now you have thousands in the queue that just sit around forever. Your queues are like 3 hours long, which is just an absolute nightmare, and they've been trying to work on it, but it just has not been working out at all. What they've tried to do is they've, like, I'm pretty sure that they've actually, like, made it as inconvenient as possible to log on to Balmung and Gilgamesh so that people will try to go other places, because right now what they're trying to do is they're like, hey, if you go to our server over here that isn't completely populated to shit, then you can get like 500k gil, I think it is, and if you own a home you can get 3 million gil, and if you haven't, then you at least get a free server transfer, you can get all your friends, and it's working somewhat, but it's not exactly doing what it needs to do. I think that honestly what Square should just do is just increase their server strength, for the love of God already. Now, yes, I know that it isn't necessarily something that's mandatory because a lot of the servers aren't really populated, but you know what, the ones that are populated to shit, and these people are still paying for your game. Just shell out the extra money. You are the second most popular MMO on the face of the planet. When you brag about having 6 million subscribers, well, we all know really your numbers are probably like half that, but even if it's 3 million, that's still 3 million people who are playing your game and trying to have a good time. And when you lock out like 20 or 30 or maybe even 100,000 of them, I don't know how many people are on these servers, I think it's like 20,000. When you lock out 20,000 people and 20,000 people are having a hard time getting online, that's still a significant chunk of your audience. And so you should really take the few extra dollars that it takes to like increase your server load so that you actually, you know, don't have these issues. it's actually worse than it was with Heaven's Ward. Heaven's Ward, when it came out, it was bad for like the beta test, but then like it started to like even out a little bit later on. However, now with Stormblood, it's just like, forget about it. If you log on at any time after like 3 or 5 p.m., you're not getting on until like 10 or 7. It's really, really bad. Now, yes, you could transfer, but I mean, you're gonna have to have a better incentive than that, right? No one's going to actually leave their guilds and or abandon their homes that they've gotten on this game to go to a brand new server. And 3 million gil isn't even enough to buy a new house, so it doesn't even matter. Like, you're gonna have to give somebody a real strong incentive to want to move, outside of just the inconvenience of, it takes a while to log on, I'll just wait for this hype to die down. And that's the worst thing that you could do. You want people to have this hype. You want people to be excited for your expansion pack. You want people to log on. Whose brilliant strategy is it to be like, oh, you know what we're actually going to do? We're going to wait. We're going to just let this hype train just die and just let the people who were going to leave just leave, and then, you know, we'll just let them stabilize. Or you can move to a new server and fix these issues entirely. No, just shell out the extra dollars and just fix your goddamn server so that we can actually play. Now, the people who are DDoSing this game right now, you're all pieces of shit. I really have nothing else to add to that. You're all just pieces of shit. So, with that rant out of the way, what else is there important to talk about? Oh, yes, the dungeons and the trials and all of that stuff. Yeah, the dungeons and the trials this time around are actually a really good time. They generally always are, also. However, this time they really went out of their way. The extreme bosses, the extreme primals, are a lot of fun to fight. And once again, visual spectacles. They continue to get better and better at their craft. Actually, when it comes to these games, I was actually really amazed with how extravagant actually one of the boss battles is. Like, the camera angle completely shifts, and like she grabs you and she like shoves you into like her tits and like, you know, then tries to kill you that way. It's actually really weird, but it's also really kind of cool, and I was just like, whoa, there's so many bright lights going on. It was awesome. And then the other one is kind of a more like traditional fight, but then like you have to like block off the sword by like attacking it with like your own. It's great. It's awesome. It's crazy. And then you have the regular dungeons. Now, generally speaking, I actually really like the dungeons in Final Fantasy XIV. And Heaven's Ward, or not Heaven's Ward, but Stormblood has also continued to deliver in great ways. When I played, say, World of Warcraft, now don't hate me, WoW fans, I do also play World of Warcraft and I do enjoy WoW, but I will admit that I think that Final Fantasy XIV is a lot more engaging with their dungeons. They're more challenging ones, absolutely so. When it comes to, like, World of Warcraft, I can kind of, like, sleep through it almost, right? Especially the standard ones. I can just hop into a duty finder, wait, and then I don't even know the context as to why I'm fighting, and then I can just be in it. In Final Fantasy XIV, you actually do have to have a quest, and you have to pick up these quests in order to even unlock doing them, and then it gives context to what you're doing, and then generally the stories are always good, because Final Fantasy makes good stories. I need to take a breath, but then, not only do they have context to everything that you're doing, but they also do a good job of making sure that every single person in these dungeons are actively contributing. The DPSs can't just sleep through these dungeons. They're like tiny raids in terms of World of Warcraft's comparison. You're generally dodging AoEs all the goddamn time, and then on top of dodging all the AoEs, you also have to make sure that all of your damage buffs are up, because if they're not, the boss that you're fighting probably has some party wiper or something like that that, you know, makes it so that you're all gonna die, hence the term party wipe. I don't know why I repeated myself, but the game and the dungeons manage to actually keep you invested. Now, admittedly, you will probably start to fall asleep at some points during the dungeons, because while they are engaging, they are a little monotonous, and you do kind of fall into a pattern. You're gonna find the most amount of fun in the trial fights, and then in the expert dungeons that you unlock later. The story scenarios, they generally are a little bit easier because they want to just let you be able to go through the game. So you're not gonna find the greatest fights there. However, that still being said, I would still say that they are decently challenging, and if nothing else, fun and pretty to look at. Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Ward, or Stormblood rather, is a good time, and I would honestly say that it is worth the buy if you can actually manage to play it. If you've never played Final Fantasy XIV before, then I highly recommend picking it up. They've actually added potions that allow you to level boost like one character from 1 to 60, and then there's also the story boost so that you skip all of the content. Now, I do suggest that if you are new to this game, at some point going back to try out this content, because it's a lot of fun, but if you really have friends that are playing this game and they're on a server that's not blocked off, then you can basically get to where they're at and you can all play together and have a great time. And it really, really is a good time. I don't think I have anything else that I can come up with off the top of my head. I'm going to be throwing a lot more of these videos at you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I tried to make it structured and nice and clean, but it wasn't happening. I just couldn't do it. Like, I was trying to, like, write it in this crazy structured way, and I just couldn't pull it off, so I was like, you know what, fuck it. I flipped my phone over, and I just turned on my microphone, and I literally just started screaming at it, and that's what I'm doing right now. If you guys liked this kind of rant, then let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button if you liked it, hit the dislike button if you disliked it, tell me I suck, I don't care, and then if you really liked it, you can hit the subscribe button, because I promise you that I'm actually going to try to do better this time, and I'm going to actually try to upload more videos and stop procrastinating like I have been doing and giving myself excuses for it, because I love you guys. You guys have gotten me to 175. I never thought I would be this far, but I am, and it's fun, and I forgot how much fun it is, and I need to stop looking at it like some kind of business and just look at it as a hobby, because that's what this is at the end of the day. Shut up, Aussie. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this little ramble video. Hit the like button again and hit the subscribe button again. I can't tell you how much that actually means to me. And let's get a conversation going. Have you guys been playing Final Fantasy XIV? Have you been thinking about playing Final Fantasy XIV? Whatever it is, comment below and let's talk about it. Alright? I'll see you around, everybody. Have a good one. Adios. Bye-bye.